Hello and welcome to this feature interview. I'm Kelsey Hubbard. Today I have Dr. Ronald Diss, who's been teaching for, I understand, this is his 53rd year, and he's decided to retire at the end of the semester. Dr. Diss, thank you so much for joining me on set.
Thank you for having me.
So what got you into teaching?
Well, I think it was a natural inclination that I pursued. My father and mother always said that I would either be a teacher or a lawyer, and teaching seemed to have been more suited, so
Right.
I went into that profession.
That's exciting. And I understand that you're an education professor here on campus.
Yes, I am.
What got you into that field?
Well, I myself, having been a student for many years, sort of had a difficult time learning to read early on, and my good teachers who worked with me to bring me to the point where I could be successful in school sort of inspired me to work with similar students. And that initially is what got me into the profession.
That's exciting. So what made you decide that you wanted to retire after 50 plus years?
Well, after 50 plus years, every now and then I have all kinds of projects I'd like to pursue. And I figured now that I'm 74 years old, I should probably get on the stick and start doing those things.
Right.
So I also have a wonderful incentive. I've got 3 grandchildren that I'd like to spend more time with, and so I'm going to do that upon my retirement. Yeah.
Awesome. So I guess over the last 50 plus years, what is, I guess, your favorite moment in teaching so far?
My favorite moment, gee, I don't think I can pick one, but it's always rewarding for me to, and the reason I suppose I've stayed in the profession is just interacting with students. They say when you teach, you don't grow old. And in some respects, you never die because your ideas and the things that you've shared with others are being given to other people as well through the lives of your students. And I've always enjoyed the interaction with the students, and that has been, I think, the hallmark of why I've stayed in the profession so long.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I understand lots of teachers say that they've learned something from their students. What do you think that you've learned so far from your students?
I've learned from my students, I would say every year that I've taught, I've learned something. And more recently, in the past few years, obviously it is the integration of technology into teaching, and I'm constantly calling upon my students to give me help and assistance. Being from the old school, a lot of this technology has really caused me sometimes to wonder if I could continue teaching. But whenever I run into a stumbling block, my students come to my rescue, and they enjoy doing that. So sometimes, frankly, I even pretend I know less than I do, just so that they can be helpful.
Right.
But that's the one thing that I really have learned over the years, that I learned from my students. And early on, I needed to learn, I suppose, that students come from such unique backgrounds that they all need special care, and that stayed with me forever as well.
Definitely. And I guess what is the one thing that you're going to take most? Is it that fact from the students?
It is that fact that everybody is unique, and I think the role of the teacher is to bring out that uniqueness in students. And I wished I had been able to do more of that, but and all teachers, I think, have that aspiration.
Right.
And when you do help students to realize their own potential, then that is a mark that it stays with you forever. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. So, I guess you've taught other places besides Emory and Henry. Where else have you taught?
I began my teaching career in up near Boston, Massachusetts, in an industrial town, Lawrence, Massachusetts. I started teaching English to seniors in high school. They were 3 years younger than myself. And then I did that for several years, and then moved to Virginia, where I taught in the elementary school. I've also taught for University of Virginia and Virginia Tech, and have been a school principal. All during those times, I've always taught in some capacity. And so then I came to Emory and Henry 28 years ago, and found my dream role, I suppose. Yeah.
Right. And what makes Emory and Henry different from the places that you've taught before?
I think the size and the culture here is one of giving, sharing, the sense of community here. It is a unique place, and it was compatible with what I've learned over the years, and that is that you know, you work with students who come with one talent or two, and they graduate with 3 or 4 known talents, and that's been very rewarding to be part of that. Along with my colleagues, the whole faculty, we work toward doing that, and so that's been the primary reason why I found this place to be so special.
Definitely. And you said that you've taught many different levels. What is it like going from, I guess, elementary to high school to college?
Much different, yeah, much different. But at each level, it enables you to really see the beauty and uniqueness of development of these individuals as they grow and mature. And I'm able to pull a lot of that experience into one of the courses I teach here, and that is human growth and development. So it has given me a real insight into early childhood education, as well as middle childhood, and then adolescent, and then, of course, young adult education here at Emory and Henry.
Definitely. And on the Emory and Henry website, they mentioned that you were in the middle of some research, a research project. What is that? Well,
the research basically is I've been doing a lot of research in terms of my own family roots in Europe, and have been engaged in making several trips over there to find the past in order to relate it to the present and look forward to the future. And so I want to pull a lot of the research that I've done together in my retirement years and publish that so that it can be available to other people of interest.
Definitely. And I have one final question for you. Was it your family that made you decide to do this research, or was it just kind of like something you pulled out of thin air?
I've always been intrigued by wondering where my what it was like in the days of my grandfather before he immigrated to the United States, and so I went over to Europe to find the village in which he used to live, and where he immigrated from at age 14, and I found those roots and a very welcoming community there who invited me to keep returning. And every time I do, I find another layer of intrigue. So I think I've made several trips over there, yeah.
Well, that's really exciting. Thank you so much for coming on set with me.
It's been my pleasure.
Yeah. This has been your feature interview. I'm Kelsey Hubbard with Dr. Dis. For today's Out and About segment, Andrew Davis introduces us to a new local racing team. The team has close ties with the Emory and Henry here. Andrew Davis and this week's Out and About.